Hello everybody, this is me, Amin.
And this is Alex.
And welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About, where you will find all the interesting information and thought-provoking discussions happening about the technology world in Malaysia and all over the planet. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about Facebook scam ads. So it's something interesting because Alex wrote an article, about last week, this week? Oh, it was published this week. So this is the 12th of May, 2022. Alex published an article this week. The title was, "It's Time for Malaysia to Penalise Facebook for Allowing Scam Ads." So what he discovered was there are more and more instances of misinforming scam-looking ads appearing on Facebook. And despite complaints and reporting being taken by individuals and also the people that these ads are impersonating, it seems like Facebook is not doing a lot to block this ad. So in today's episode, we're gonna talk about what happened, what are these scam ads, and what Facebook is doing, and what can be done. What should Facebook do, and what should the Malaysian government do, and what should we as Facebook users do when we see scam ads? Because these scam ads can be like super dangerous. Number one, they are super misleading and misinforming. I mean, we'll put some of the samples of the scam ads on our YouTube channel later in the show, and we'll describe them for you for our podcast listeners. But before we go into that, I think, Alex, you can tell the whole story about your article and how you discovered the scam ads.
Okay, I think the last article we wrote about it was on 6th of May. So this came after the Ministry of Health. They issued a statement that they are aware of a Facebook ad that's promoting sort of like a diabetes remedy or insulin to treat diabetes, and it showed a picture of Khairy Jamaluddin, the health minister, and it gave an impression that the Ministry of Health is endorsing this kind of medication for diabetic people, and obviously it's fake because this misusing the pictures and all that stuff. And Ministry of Health, they had to post up like a PSA on their social media channels and also a press release about this as well.
Okay, let me just describe the ad. So it's a Facebook ad at the top there, where you usually will see the name of the page that's advertising that ad. It doesn't say Minister of Health. It says alienshop.live or .tw.
Yep.
It says sponsors, and the headline is, the title of the ad is Khairy exposes the truth about diabetes recovery. And then there's a picture of Khairy Jamaluddin, the health minister, taking a certificate from another person. I don't know from who, but it looks official. And then the headline of the picture says, Khairy's advice for diabetics. And then at the bottom it says, blood sugar returns to normal. I mean, for the uninitiated or people who, the majority of people who are using Facebook, this looks legit.
Yeah, but for us, for those who are informed and for those who are aware of how scams look like, this is obviously a scam.
This is obviously a scam because, Ain Alien Shop -TW is completely not Ministry of Health.
And then when you click through the link, right, because I saw the actual ad, I clicked through the link and it goes to like this dodgy looking page. Looks something like from GeoCities from the early 90s and all that stuff.
Yeah, so it goes to a complete, I'm just describing what I see here. So it goes to a completely different website. That does not show Khairy's picture. That has nothing to do with what was advertised.
It's actually selling supplements and all that. It's kind of like similar, but they based using different public figures. So on the page itself, there's also a picture of our Health Director General, Dr. Noor Hisham as well, holding the supposed product. And then if you want to buy, you make a payment. Yeah.
Okay, so Ministry of Health. So this is one example. Is there are there any other examples of scam ads like this?
There are tons of it. Another one would be this ad, right? They try to impersonate mainstream media websites like The Sun, The Star, and I think FMT as well. So the ads, right, how it reads like this. Okay, one of it is legit ways to earn fast without paying taxes. Another one is get the latest Mercedes-Benz can be yours. Here's how. Or want to avoid tax nightmare? This Malaysian man reveals how he earns 2K a day and pays zero tax. And it leads to our website that looks like the Star. I mean, yes, a proper headline, all that stuff.
With
and
the Star logo.
With the byline of the person. But the content is completely different. You click the link, it goes to like an online gambling site registration page.
So you key in it's possible for you to key in your like
Details, if you want.
details.
Yes.
And that details can be used for scamming and stuff. It's like a black hole that is super dangerous. I don't even want to get close to things like this. I don't even dare clicking through these ads.
Some could be looks more harmless. Like for example, I think a few years back, even before the pandemic, there was also KFC voucher ads.
Mhm,
You know, like
mhm.
those you see an ad on the timeline say, oh, you can get free KFC vouchers. You know, just fill out a form. Looks harmless, right? Because he has a KFC branding, all that stuff. You click, it goes to a Google Docs document.
Yep.
So it looks like, oh, okay, looks normal. Google Docs, like
Mm.
you see it dominating Google Docs, looks fine.
Mm.
So they ask you to key in the details and wait for the instructions.
Yeah.
So that's scary.
And for me, the ads that you mentioned, the Star, the Sun, and the Star e-paper, right? The ones that I see right now, and we'll put it up on our YouTube channel. And for those of you who are listening to us on podcast, you can come over to our YouTube channel just look at the ads that we're looking at right now, because it's really scary. The publisher name, they try to play on with the words. So like the Sun, instead of putting the Sun, it says there's Sun Media.
But they use actual logo.
Yeah, and they use the Sun's logo. For the Star, it's using the Star logo, but the publisher name is the Star Publisher, which is not the Star. And then another one uses the Star logo again. This is for the Star e-paper.
The Stars
Yeah,
e-paper.
and then the publisher name is the Stars with an S, e-paper. So again, first glance, you look at it, it looks legit. If you're uninitiated, you click through, you go through the link, and if you really want what they're trying to sell, you will go through the hoops and loops to get it.
Even the domain also looks deceptive, like the starblog.co, the starpage.site, the starasia.co.
Yeah, because people only see the front. They don't see
Yes.
the extension. They don't see the .co or the .com.
Yeah, and even if you click through it, right, it looks legit because the whole interface looks exactly the same as the Star website.
Yeah, and then okay, one last example you mentioned was the smart tag thing, the Max tag.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, you want to get a smart tag device, you can't buy them anymore, but there's a third-party brand called Max Tag, which works exactly the same. So right now they're having this Raya 2022 limited edition, so it's a smart tag in green. Looks pretty cool, right? So the original product is going for like 149 ringgit.
Okay.
So recently, a few weeks back, a couple of fake Facebook pages came out with a similar name like Max to Go or Max Lite, whatever, that claims to sell the same product at half price, 79 ringgit and 90 cents. And they've been running ads about this, and then they're promoting it. And obviously, if you're interested, the usual Malaysian way, PM. So they PM you the details.
So it's the transaction happens off-site. It's unsecure.
It's unsecure.
Yep.
PM or ask you to WhatsApp to a specific number.
Yes.
Then the transaction is done off-site. So I assume that they probably ask you to bank into a specific bank account.
Yeah, I just want to take this opportunity to like really inform everybody. Like, okay, the easiest way for you to detect whether it's a scam or not is if the scammer asks you to make the transaction off a platform. So that means it's done in an unsecure manner where you have to bank in your money directly into a bank account. That is the most unsecure way, because it's almost impossible to get that money back.
Yep.
If you want, you can pay it through an intermediary like a credit card or maybe a prepaid card or Grab or something like that. That where you can dispute that payment for transactions like this, where they tell you, okay, can you bank it into this bank account directly, and the bank account name is not a company name, it's a person's name or whatever, then or the company name is completely different from the product name, that's a scam.
Yeah, especially personal accounts.
Yeah.
So beware about that. And the thing is, it looks legit because what they done is similar to the KFC voucher ad. Is they copy the same materials, the same header, the banner, the logo, everything, and even the promo images from the official site.
They just copy and paste.
Just copy and paste, and then they just put a different message. Oh, you want to buy this? Please PM or please WhatsApp to this specific number.
Yeah, and for the official Max Tag Facebook website, it's called Max Tag.
Yes,
right?
correct.
The scam one, and again, you can come to our YouTube channel to look at the pictures. The publisher name is Max to Go. Yeah, so it's like really, I mean, again, to the uninitiated or to the ones that just look at the flags where it says like it's the same thing with the same kind of words and the same kind of logos, you can be sucked into this, and it's very dangerous. Right. So we've identified the scam, and we know that the number of scam ads that are happening on Facebook is quite high, to a point where there are certain countries that are taking legal action towards Facebook, right?
Yep.
So one of them is Australia. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so in March this year, right, the Australian Competition Consumer Commission, the ACCC, they sued Meta for allowing scam ads on its platform. So it alleged that Meta has engaged in false, misleading, and deceptive conduct by publishing scam advertisements featuring prominent Australian figures. And they said that the conduct was in breach of the Australian Consumer Law, Australian Securities and Investment Commission Act, and it said that Meta aided and abetted or knowingly concerned in false and misleading conduct or in representation by the advertisers. So basically, they say that Facebook is basically not doing enough to stop this ads from happening. And even when it's reported, they're not taking enough action to take it down.
Yeah, it's not. It's okay. Baited and abated. Aided and abated means that it's not just Facebook is not doing enough.
You're involved in the
Yes,
scam.
Facebook is helping to
Yep.
perpetuate the scam.
Yeah, because you know that from the start, right, these ads are not allowed on the platform. It's really clear violation of the own ad policy. You have that rule, but you let these ads go through your system.
Yep.
And for those who don't know, Facebook actually makes money from these ads because Facebook, they make money from ads.
Yes.
They take money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So by accepting the money, which means that you're involved in the scam.
So we'll talk about the economics, right? So, if you don't already know, right, the Facebook, we are Facebook's products. Our attention span and our eyeballs is what Facebook sell to brands.
Yep.
And what brands do is they pay Facebook to get as much attention as possible from us, the Facebook users.
And there's tons of it. Like right now, if you notice, every 2 posts is an ad.
It's an ad, right?
Yes.
So one of Facebook's biggest revenue stream is selling ads to companies and brands. Obviously, as a company that's looking at growth and as a company that's very driven by shareholders and performance, Facebook will try to make as much money as possible. So they start expanding the capability of ads to not just companies but to also individuals. And that, I think, is one of the reasons why Facebook, there's like a clear conflict of interest, and that's, I think, one of the core cases that the Australia government is presenting to their courts against Facebook in a way that, okay, because these scammers are paying Facebook to publish the ad and Facebook is not doing anything and accepting the money, Facebook is helping them.
Yes, and I want to add on that the ACCC chairman, Rod Sims, he said that Meta is responsible for ads that it publishes on its platform and should have been doing more to detect and then remove false or misleading ads on Facebook to prevent consumers from falling victim to ruthless scammers. He added that apart from resulting in untold losses to consumers, these ads also damage the reputation of the public figures falsely associated with the ads. And he also stressed that Facebook failed to take sufficient steps to stop fake ads featuring public figures even after they reported to Meta that the name and image were being misused to endorse scam ads.
Yeah, and that's a very good quote because that is what's currently happening in Malaysia. But the difference is Facebook is having free reign in Malaysia because, number one, our regulators and lawmakers are not saying anything about this. In fact, I think our Mancom has been quoted to mention that Malaysia has no power against Facebook when it comes to things like this, which I think we disagree because if you look at what Australia and the European Union is doing against this big tech company, there is definitely a way. Yep. Another precedent or another case study is, if you remember, Facebook Australia was going to pass a law that requires Facebook and Google to pay news publishers for them to publish their content for Facebook to publish their content on the platform. And Facebook was really concerned about that, and they used their powers to block all news websites, access to all news websites on Facebook in Australia. Yeah. And there was a huge debacle on that, and Facebook and the Australian government was forced to come back to the table and discuss, and they met somewhere in the middle. And that happened. So my point is, I think governments, especially I think the Malaysian government has the ability and power to force Facebook's hand to come and have a discussion, or at least tell them to do more about scam ads that's been posting in the country. It's even more dangerous because election is coming up, and and we know for a fact there are case studies for a fact where Facebook has directly influenced the outcome of election results.
Yeah, because they can control the narrative.
they can, and I'm not sure whether they are controlling the narrative, but it's just a matter of, okay, whoever wants to pay the most to me, I will let that pass.
And I will amplify that.
Yeah, I'm not going to control. I'm not going to take sides here. It's
Yep.
just you pay the most, and
I'll run the ad.
yeah, I'll do your bidding, whatever you want, right?
Regardless whether it's truth or not or misleading, I don't care,
Yeah, so we can see this in the US, where the Russians come and kacau the elections, and we can see it in Thailand and a few other countries. The
Philippines, you mean?
Philippines, sorry. And scam ads and Facebook is not anything new. Facebook has been responding to the media's queries about all this. In fact, I think today we saw an article from advertising and marketing. So they reached out to Facebook, and Facebook responded to say that they are doing their best, and they will do everything that can be done. They have check and balances in place to prevent scams. But if you ask me, that is a very PR response.
Of course.
Being a data-driven company, Facebook did not disclose or did not provide the definitive action taken to clearly prevent these scam ads from appearing. What I would like for Facebook to provide is the percentage of reports that are coming from Facebook users
In Malaysia.
about scam ads, and whether that is trending down or trending up. And if it's trending up, what is Facebook doing? How many scam ads have they blocked? What are the proactive measures they are putting in place, because people are now very concerned about scam ads? They've not put all this in place. Or they have not mentioned all this. And if you ask me, whatever Facebook say, I will take it with a truckload of salt.
Yep.
Time and time again, we've seen Facebook being caught with their pants down, saying what they are doing, but they're not doing what they're saying. Basically, they're lying.
Yeah, for me, it's like every time when people ask them, okay, what are you doing about user safety, users security, and what are you doing about scams, right? They will say, oh yeah, we have done a lot of campaigns to educate users about how to detect scams. They launched this Tak Nak Scam campaign in conjunction with MCMC, PDRM, and in Cybersecurity Malaysia. At the same time, right, it's like you think about it, right? Look at the scam ads, right? A lot of these ads can be prevented from the start. Like, okay, firstly, I want to mention, like, if you look at this KFC scam ads or those fake ads, right, they're normally newly created pages, few weeks or few months old. Secondly, there are very few users, maybe like 20 or 30 likes. And if you look at the ad, right, it obviously looks very dodgy. If, let's say, Facebook practice what they preach, right, about how to identify scams, if they want to educate users about that, right, why they don't apply the same logic to their own ad review team? Because Facebook can be very stringent with the ads.
Yep.
If you and me want to do an ad, right, it might take hours or days for you to approve. If your picture's not right, your ad got rejected.
If there's too many text in a picture, it's rejected.
And then if landing page is not right, you can be rejected as well.
Yep.
So why are they not applying the same rules for this scam ads? So that's why we wrote about the post. Like, if they're so strict on normal users, how come they cannot prevent such ads from happening?
Yeah, I don't think they can't. It's just there's something happening that either it's not allowing them to do it, or they are not doing it.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it up to you, the viewers and listeners, to decide whether they don't have enough of a capability to stop these ads, or they are just looking at some. They're just turning a blind eye.
Yeah, and here's my speculation. I feel I feel that probably the ad review team has a KPI to meet. Apart from keeping the platform safe, they also need to ensure they hit their revenue targets. Like, for example, okay, you must approve like certain percentage of ads because they need the ad money to come in, because that's their source of revenue. And I feel that if someone comes in with a huge ad campaign budget, just let it run first.
Yeah, just let it run.
Wait until someone complain.
Okay, so I just want to add on to your speculation. There have been time and time again where this method has been proven.
Yes.
I can't remember the case study, but what I know is that Facebook has put money ahead of ethics and regulation.
Yep.
They've done that numerous times. So I mean,
they are so caught of this. Recently, there's a report saying that they found that Facebook has been funding like publications to discredit their competitors as well. Yeah.
So I mean, Facebook is not the last word in terms of integrity, lah. I think every time I go into Facebook, I become dirty. I get this dirty feeling, you know.
That's why for me, I hardly post my stuff there anymore because I feel disgusted as well. Like certain things, like for example, okay, number one, another thing is that Facebook actually has presence in Malaysia. They say Facebook Malaysia office, and going back to the Ministry of Health fake ad, right, the misleading ad, right, that uses Kari Jamudin's picture, right. The moment that news came out on Friday, right, someone in Facebook Malaysia should have known that there's an ad out there that's really wrong. And nobody took it down. So I checked almost on a daily basis. It took more than about 2 days for them to remove the ad. And that ad has been running since 2nd of May. So that's like more than a week that's been running. And nobody removed it. Imagine if this is if let's say we have something that's wrong or misleading on Malaysian mainstream media or Malaysian websites, right? MCMC is going to call you up and ask you to put it down immediately.
Okay, I just want to put you in the spot right now, right? So based on your experience, because you handled digital media before, right? So based on your experience, to run a Facebook ad over a week, what is the nominal amount you can spend to get like a really good reach in terms of eyeballs?
Well, it depends. You know, it could be ranging from 5,000 or 10,000, or it depends on the
eyeballs, right?
Eyeballs, and also another thing for me in terms of ads, right? I think Facebook has probably the lowest cost per acquisition. So if let's say you're a scammer, right, you want to have the biggest reach. So Facebook has definitely biggest reach, because like we mentioned, right, a lot of people use Facebook in Malaysia, and the cost is actually much cheaper than running ads on Google and other stuff. And in terms of acquisition, right, I think since the ads are like tag as sponsored, it looks more convincing. I won't be surprised that scammers are running like tens or hundreds of thousands of ringgit.
Yeah, because I wanted to say it's possible for these people to spend 100,000 ringgit
if the returns are huge
in a week.
Yes,
right. I mean, 100,000 ringgit, you can get a click through rate of 30%,
maybe 5%. And also for me, it depends on the motivation as well. Like for example, the max tag scam thing, right? So they're selling the product for 79 ringgit, which probably they won't give any product. So that's how much you're going to earn per victim. So I guess it depends on the ratio of how much they earn. They can based on that.
So I think 50 to 100,000 ringgit is a safe number, considering the eyeballs that these ads are getting, and considering how targeted these ads are,
and the frequency is quite
and the
high
frequency.
For me.
Yes, that's one. So yes, the focus has always been on Facebook and what they're going to do. But Facebook can always raise their hand and say, "Hey, no, we're just a platform. People are free to use whatever. We're not censoring anybody. Free speech, promoting all that, blah blah blah." But it's all BS lah, if you ask me, because Facebook, as you mentioned, has really tight processes in place, has really tight reporting in place. It's just a matter of Facebook wanting to follow their own rules or not.
Yeah, and also like you're saying, like, okay, they don't want to moderate, right? Let people free speech or that. Okay, fine for organic posts. But when it comes to ads, right, that's a whole different ballgame, because you're responsible for amplifying that scam and that misinformation.
And is it as complicated as it seems in terms of blocking scam ads? It's not, to be honest, because if you look at the majority of the scam ads, the ads are pointing to a domain that is completely different from the brand that they're representing. So all Facebook needs to do is put in an algorithm that says, okay, if this is from Max Tag or whatever, and it's pointing to something else,
they should raise red flags.
They should raise the red flag for a human to intervene and take a look and at least verify.
And also another red flag is that newly created pages with very few likes, like a few days ago, and then start to create new ad campaign with a huge budget. That should also raise red flag. That should also require human intervention. Like, okay, I need to verify this first ad from this page. At least the first checks need to be done.
And that's a very good point, because some people, like, okay, my own personal experience, I do buy secondhand stuff from platforms, whether it's Facebook or Carousel or whatever, or even if you go on Shopee or Lazada. Other simplest way for you to check whether that brand or platform or page is legit is how long that brand platform has been on that platform, right? So if a person that's selling a motorcycle part for like super cheap on Facebook, and you look at his profile and he's only like existed for 2 days or 2 months, right, then you know something's up.
Yeah, the same goes with like Lazada and Shopee, right? Because we talked about this in a different episode about scam listing as well. Like you see a product, this phone selling for $100 when the phone is actually 1,000 ringgit. And most of the time you check properly, right? The names are dodgy, like using like 135 or whatever number. And then there's a lot of phone listings, and the page is created like a few days ago. And then you can see the price is ridiculous. I mean, super cheap. But the difference is that if you buy from Lazada and Shopee, right?
It's protected by Lazada.
In a way that before, okay, let's say we see a product, right? And then it's not what it seems, you can report to the platform and they will hold the money because the money is not released until you receive the product and you confirm that you receive it in good order.
Okay, so I have an interesting question. So if we put this as an analogy, right? So let's assume that Facebook is like a pasar. And people there sell things, right?
Yep.
At the pasar. And
Yep.
then I go and buy something at the pasar. And the thing that I buy is not what it seems. So I got conned by the seller at the pasar.
Yep.
So who do I reach out to? Do I reach out to the operator of the pasar or the seller? Because I'm trying to take Facebook side here and
Yep.
say, you know what? I'm just giving you a place.
Yep.
Whatever happens there
Yep.
is what you do and what that other person do. I'm not responsible. So is that like a correct analogy or I mean, if I've been scammed, who can I reach out to?
Of course, obviously to the pasar lah. So to the
the
owner of the
seller.
store, seller.
So
If the seller doesn't
exist anymore, or you can't find him anymore.
then you complain to the pasar owner who's operating in this store this location.
Yeah.
Okay, another example would be like this. Let's say for example you want to rent a car to people, right? Let's say you have a platform, you want to rent a car. Before you rent a car out, you need to get their driver's license, the IC verification to confirm, okay, who is this person? Does he have the right to drive? Because if this person go out and commit a crime, the police investigate, you need to provide information. Who is this driver? Because at the end of the day, if not, right, you'll be responsible for whatever happened with the car.
Yeah, but I'm not sure whether that's like a one-to-one analogy of what's happening right now.
Okay, because the reason why I say that is because Facebook, right, anyone can create a page. Anyone can create an ad. There's no verification.
Yes.
If let's say MCMC wants to investigate, okay, who is responsible for this page?
Yep.
What information do they have?
I don't know.
Exactly. There's no verification. Unlike like e-wallets, right? You have know your customer. You need to verify your account to get verification. At least that's legit.
And then you open up the question of whether Facebook can divulge that information to people, right? So that's another complication.
But at least Twitter is more responsive in that manner. So Facebook, they have so not Facebook, Twitter. So Twitter also has like their own guidebook and rules about what kind of posts can be taken down.
Yeah.
So let's say like recently there's some instances that MCMC instruct Twitter to remove certain posts. It was instructed by government, and Twitter found that this post is actually harmless.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong. So they didn't pull it down.
So Twitter is kind of like playing the arbitrary game here. So they are like the arbitrator of this discussion.
Yes.
So let's say you post something that I find offensive, I will report to Twitter, and then Twitter will decide whether it's offensive or not, because Twitter is trying to defend the freedom of speech.
Yep.
But at this point in time, with Elon Musk now owning Twitter, I don't think that's going to be something. Freedom of speech is 50-50 lah, right? It doesn't mean that you can say anything and everything. So it's complicated there. But this is another complicated thing, because it is not an organic post, like you mentioned. It's not about freedom of speech. It is literally about scamming people.
Promoting the scam.
Yes. So it's about like perpetuating the scam, amplifying the scam, and allowing the scam to happen on your platform.
And they're benefiting from it.
And they are earning money from it. The third part of the discussion was, okay, what can we do about it? Obviously, we start from the individual, right? As individuals, we need to be more responsible and more aware of scams. And because scams are happening, has happened since the start of the internet until today. Yes, it has gotten a bit more sophisticated because they know where you are, they know who you are, they know a lot about you, that it might seem real, but the flags are the same. So you need to get educated about what scam flags are.
Actually, in fact, Facebook actually has a good resource about that as well under the Tatna Scam campaign, which they're not practicing again for the ad team.
But right, to be fair, nobody reads. I mean, okay, not to say nobody. Okay, I'm not trying to like classify anybody, but to be honest, the majority of the target audience in Facebook, they don't read much lah.
Yeah, I will agree that they're mostly headline readers.
Yeah.
To be fair, right, if they're so smart, right, scammers won't be bothered doing this campaign. The reason why they're doing these ads and these tactics is because it works.
Because it works, yes. They get the returns. They put in 100,000, they get 200, they get 500. They do it.
Yeah, as long as you just need one or two suckers, I can cover my costs.
Yeah. So that's the problem. Okay, number one, the individual, right? Educate yourself about scams. Read more. I know it's easier said than done, but whatever works. If it works that you look at TikTok videos that is educating you about scams, then please do that. Find that and do that, right? Whatever works for you. You don't want to read, watch a video. You don't want to watch a video, listen to a podcast. Push comes to shove. If you are, as an individual, want to go and sue Facebook, and Facebook can just say the argument, look, you didn't read. That's your problem, not mine. That is a legit case, okay? Number two is the platform. Obviously, we know Facebook has the power and ability to make the platform a really interesting and safe place. We have platforms like Roblox where it's safe for kids. I mean, it's not 100%, but it's so much better than what Facebook is. The question is whether Facebook want to do it or not. And we know that is not even a question because Facebook is not interested in safety and security of their users. They're not. They're just interested in making money.
Yeah, for a multi-billion-dollar company, right, they can really put serious resources into ensuring that the platform is safe.
Yeah.
Like one simple example would be having a localized ad review team, because I'm pretty sure that the ad review team is somewhere outside Malaysia. They are centralized, they do everything. And sometimes, okay, to be fair, I think some of them don't get the context of the ad. That's why, okay, maybe this looks okay, let's approve it.
Yep.
If there's a local team in Malaysia, since Malaysia has been contributing lots of millions of dollars in ad revenue, they should have at least have an ad review team that's based in Malaysia who can understand the context and one glance, this is a fake news. This is a fake site.
Yep. My point is, number two is we need to put more responsibility on the platform, right?
But because responsible platform is more like self-regulation, right? But if that doesn't work,
then it brings me to my third point, right? Is for the lawmakers and the people who are in power, government and all that, to start putting more pressure on the platforms through rules and regulations to put them in the discussion table to protect people, to protect their citizens.
Yeah, because as we reported by police and various authorities, right, scams have been on the rise in Malaysia. People, you can see news, right, even senior citizens losing hundreds of thousands ringgit.
Millions.
And then this one like senior citizen 90-year-old, she lost 3 million ringgit.
Yeah, and it's on the rise. I don't have the data points. The police are saying it, but I am experiencing it. I get more calls on scams.
Hello, this is LHDN.
On a daily basis. Yes, and it's the LHDN scam and HSBC. So these are the two robot calls I get on a daily basis. Sometimes multiple times a day. I put it on my call blocker and it still goes through. It's a different number.
Yeah, it keeps changing numbers.
Yeah, it's a robocall. The robocall says, the next time I get a robocall, and I hope whoever that's listening, Facebook or whatever, that robocall comes in, I'm going to make a recording. It says, ini adalah amaran terakhir daripada Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri. Anda ada tunggakan cukai blah 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 blah. You get that?
Yeah, and then they divert to the actual person, right?
Yeah. Okay, so whoever gets that call, let me know in the comment section or give us a thumbs up and if you agree, right? So the other call I get is from HSBC, not from the bank, but the HSBC scam. But again,
do you have HSBC account?
I don't. HSBC should do something about it as well, right? So three things, right? The individual, the platform, the government. So within the platform is also another thing, the brands, right? So the brand should also be held responsible. I think the brand, for the most part, is doing their part. They're reporting, they're informing, they are trying to tell everybody that this is a scam as soon as they identify it. So the brands are the less to blame here. Back to the discussion, right? So scams are rising. The government is doing all this awareness campaign in conjunction with Facebook and all that. But it's clearly obvious that the platform, specifically Facebook, they don't care. They're just playing faces. It's called Facebook for a reason. They're playing faces. They're telling this to the police, we're doing this. To the press, they're saying we're doing this. To the government, they're saying we're doing this. But to themselves internally, it's completely different. Yep. And there have been tons and tons of whistleblowers. Multiple times where whistleblowers have provided mountains of documents on the contrary to what Facebook has been saying to the public. You can't trust Facebook and you cannot have all these campaigns and all that. I think the government should stop being buddy-buddy with these platforms and say, we don't have any power, we can't do anything, we don't have the laws and legislation to go after them. I think they should lah.
Yep.
Case in point, right? Okay, case in point is the e-scooter, right? So they ban e-scooters. So people who are riding e-scooters will get summoned, right?
Yeah, on the public roads.
Okay. But the e-scooter rental companies, nobody's taking any action.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even want to regulate them to give them a warning. Okay, you know what? This is what you should do to make sure
Provide helmets, make it law.
yes,
So
correct.
they can say like, okay, for the citizens, if you ride on public roads, you don't wear safety gear, whatever, you're gonna get summoned.
Yeah.
For the supplier of the equipment,
The platform provider.
yes,
yeah.
if you don't make sure that they buy helmets, or if you don't supply helmets for them to use,
We're gonna find you.
yes,
Yeah.
but that doesn't happen.
Exactly.
Same thing here.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And then to going back to the laws, right? Okay,
Mm.
this is reported by the Star on 28 April. Just to add on what Amin said about Mancom, right? So the communication Mancom is basically communication minister, the communication and multimedia ministry. This is Tan Sri Anwar Musa. He said that although Section 233 of the Communication and Multimedia Act 1998 could be used against offenders, it was not effective in checking contents uploaded from overseas platform. He said, for example, if someone uploads on Facebook and Twitter, the MCMC, which is the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, has no power to take it down. And even to ask help for overseas-based platforms, we will need to do a preliminary investigation before bringing it to the Attorney General Chamber to seek for cooperation for the country concerned. The process is quite lengthy, and that's why we're looking into the possibility of strengthening certain provisions in the existing act based on our experience in managing this matter.
That's bullshit.
So basically, long story short, we can't do anything. Cannot lah.
No, you just look at Australia. Just
Yes.
put in the laws, because where the money flows, that's where the platforms is concerned.
Yeah, you punch them when it hurts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're telling them, okay, this needs to happen, or else, there will be serious ramifications. You cannot do business anymore in Malaysia. Then
Yeah. Or given a timeline, if you don't do this, right, we're going to block Facebook from Malaysia domains
Yeah.
or from all telcos.
I mean, yeah, obviously blocking Facebook is double-sided lah, because again, the masses will blame the government, and Facebook is good at lobbying
Yep.
to the people who are making the most noise, right? So
Yep.
Facebook, like Australia, again, case study, they can say, we have no choice but to do this
To block the news sites.
to block the news sites, because the Australian government has put all these laws in place that we have no choice to just adhere to this law.
Yep.
If you have any issues, whatever, please speak to your government. They're
Yep.
so good at doing that.
Yep.
To say that the government has no power is wrong. I think the government has a lot of power. It's just a matter of whether they want to do it or not lah. At the end of the day, they are also like kind of Facebook also.
For me, it's like, okay, if they say the current laws are not effective, right, then do something about it. Push for a new law. I mean, they can be done. Like, because last time they've done something with the Fake News Act, which was repealed by the PH government in 2019. They could have come up with new law specifically for online platforms like this to make sure that ads are adhering to a local code, to make
Yes.
sure they are being run from verified accounts. Simple basic checks. That's it. We're just asking for simple basic checks. And that will be enough to make it harder for scammers to run ads on Facebook and Google and other platforms.
Yeah. So it's not impossible. It's just whether they want to do it or not.
Yep.
And if you hear Mancom or whoever say that it is out of their power, that's
Excuse lah.
It's a complete BS lah. If you ask me, I mean, we talked about this, right? How like the government can negotiate with international brands, like with regards to the parenthesis, they should negotiate with the supplier direct and not through vendors.
Yep.
They're not doing that. It's that nothing is stopping them.
Yep.
They're just not doing it.
Yeah. It's whether they want to do it or not. That's
Yeah.
it.
Try not to get scammed lah, guys. I don't know what else to say.
It's very easy to say, but sadly, a lot of people get fooled for it every single day. So stay safe online.
Yeah, just avoid Facebook if you can. I don't know. Again, it's easier said than done, because
Yes.
I'm on Facebook as well, so I don't know. All right. Okay, that's pretty much it. I just want to remind you that we're available on podcast. So if you want to listen to us while you're driving or just chilling, we are available there as well. So just search for Let's Talk About. Sorry, Chinchao, Let's Talk About. We're available on Spotify and all of your favorite podcast platforms. If you're listening to us on podcast, please do give us a 5-star rating, because that helps the show. And if you're watching us on YouTube, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to drop comments and what you think about the discussion today. Suggestions for new topics that we want to talk about at Let's Talk About, or anything you want us to look into at this show, and we'll try to do some of the research and have a discussion about that as well. Give us a thumbs up if you like the show. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, for our podcast listeners, you can also drop a voice note, and if it's interesting, we'll publish it on our show.
You can drop it an email at let's talk about @soychinchao.com.
All right. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. This is me, Amin.
And this is Alex.
Catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.